Hello and welcome to the Thursday show here on the Frontline Gaming Network. My name is Paul Murphy, your host. I'm joined by Dustin Henshaw.
Hello, everybody.
And Adam Camilleri.
Oh, you're on my screen.
What data slate, huh?
I know.
Never heard of it.
I'm dodging the
taking over
camera.
the post screens.
That's what I'm doing. We do this show each and every week live Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern here on the Frontline Gaming Network. If you can join us, please do. We have a great chat community. Awesome folks talking about what we're talking about what they're talking about, helping us answer questions, talking about the events we're talking about. This is your weekly tournament meta rundown where we cover the biggest and best events over the course of the weekend. This is also a time we might say, hey, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave some 5-star reviews. We might remind you of do that towards the end of the show as well. This is also when I want to remind you that we got some cool stuff coming up here on the Frontline Gaming webpage, network, all the other shows that are happening. Talking about hobby boxes. That's what I'm talking about. Amazing things, huge value. These are things you can normally only get like for the big super major tournaments they run. This is something you can do. There's multiple ways, I think, to participate with this. Check out the links. I don't know where the links are going to go. We're going to be a word from the sponsors later on. We'll figure it out. But I'm excited to be here if you could not tell.
Me too. We've also got SoCal coming up this weekend. Myself and the lovely Dustin, in addition to the whole FLGN stream squad, will be in attendance, doing our best to bring you all the goodness and greatness from one of Frontline Gaming's Keystone events.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to that too. I was raising the roof for all those of you just listening to us on the aggregators afterwards. If you're not here live, you can't see the awesome raising the roof here, but I'm excited for that. I always love doing these events, and doing it with Adam is just a bonus,
We know a lot of the players coming in attendance to this. We're actually going to be talking about, if you're new to the show, you haven't been here before, what we do is we talk about the event. We actually go down all the different factions that you'll see there. We'll talk about some of the list that you're going to see there. Typically especially this late in the ITC season, there'll be some of the top-ranked ITC players that are at the event. We'll talk about what they're choosing to bring to this engagement. We might even sprinkle in a little bit about how to beat that stuff if we actually think it's defining the meta. That's what we do.
Spice.
That's how we do it.
A little spice.
Little bit of spice. Little bit of spice. Yeah. And
So
congratulations to the SoCal madam. Dodged a data slate, mixing up. Usually we're always like, oh no, is a super major looming with a possible meta rebalance? Invalidating the meta. None of those issues. Full steam ahead. Nothing's changed. Business as usual.
I kind of like how this is, one, these are not going to be in effect, I don't believe, for any of the events we're talking about on this show. We'll start to see them creep in for the events next week. I do have kind of a weird time for the world and Warhammer 40,000. It's like, what lasted longer, pre-nerf grudge tokens or the UK Prime Minister?
Oof.
Bang. Starting off with the D cannon.
Shots fired from the hip. Paul doing the Kellamore thing right now. He's just firing off all the pistols.
Nice.
Let's jump right into this SoCal Open. 178 players, 6-round event. Typically, also before we do, War Games Live, they may be taking the week off. We'll give you a no prize, a shout out next event if you can find where Joe went.
Where is he? Where in the world is he? We actually don't know this week.
Tweet me. Yeah. At Warmaster_TPM.
Let me know. Let me know what's up.
Yeah, make sure you send a picture. Yeah. Send a picture that he's gonna like crushing some tacos or something.
Yeah. Hide behind a beard, trying to hide from all the 40K points. Oh no, let me
running away from him. Oh, bonus points if you get a picture of him running away from you. That'd be great.
Yes.
Look, if somebody's sitting down enjoying some tacos, let him enjoy those tacos.
Okay, it was the taco. The tacos is what kind of breaks for Paul. If it's doing anything else, doesn't matter. But if he's eating tacos, leave the man alone.
Leave him
alone.
178 players. Big event, 6 rounds. Dustin, what are we going to see there in Del Mar, California?
Let's see what we're going to be seeing there. So, Imperial, there is 10 Sisters of Battle, 5 Custodes, 1 AdMech, 4 Astra Militarum, 4 Grey Knights, and 7 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 3 Dark Angels, 3 Space Wolves, 10 Blood Angels, 1 Ultramarine, 1 Salamander, 3 Black Templar, 1 White Scar, and 1 Death Watch. Chaos, there's 4 T-Suns, 3 Death Guard, 14 Demons, and 4 Renegade Knights. Heretic Astartes. 14?
Okay, we'll get to that.
14. Heretic Astartes, there are 4 Black Legion, 4 Emperor's Children, 5 Creations of Bile who did not get touched and are still going strong even after the data slate, 1 Word Bear, 1 Alpha Legion, 1 Night Lord, 1 World Eater, and 1 Red Corsair. All right, nice, really nice spread of the chaos there. Chaos Space Marines specifically. Xenos, there's 9 Necrons, 13 Orcs, and 9 Tau. And here it is, 3 Leagues of Votann.
They're here.
They're here.
They're coming back slowly, like that, like in the fluff. They're just slowly starting to reappear.
Slowly starting to come back. Yeah, but Orcs
I wonder if
also
those the same
13,
3
that's-
players from. I
Yeah,
think there were
from
3
all those
players at
years
the
ago?
Chicago Open.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's correct. It were.
Hive Mind, there's 1 Forces of the Hive Mind, 17 Tyranids, 5 Genestealer Call. Yes, representing. I love this. Eldari, there's 1 Drukhari, 9 Harlequins, 7 Assyriani, and 1 Inari, which means the faction podium is Chaos Space Marines, topping it all off at 18, Tyranids in second with 17, Chaos Demons in third with 14, and then Orcs getting a really special mention with 13. So they're actually really close there, too.
I had to chuck the
That's,
Orcs in as the honorable
you had to.
mention because it's freaking amazing. Same as Demons, podium places for the Demons is always lovely to see. 2 Chaos factions on the podium. It's probably the first time in 9th edition we've seen it, and I'm here for it.
Have the demons, have people cracked the code? Have they figured out, like, okay, these demonic saves are good. I've now figured out the right combination of flamers and something else. Like, what's happening there?
Well, yeah, you go, Dustin.
No, go ahead. You had it fired.
People have got enough reps to realize that there's a good balance to that list now. They're not all, you don't all in on one god, you don't all in on another god, you don't even take 50-50. You take a bit of Undivided and then a bit of your splash, be that Zinch, be that Khorne. I've seen some Slanesh, but yeah, the balance is kind of discovered now, and the people are trying to get in iterating on that balance. Usually it comes in the flavor of 1 Bloodthirster, multitude of little lesser demons, mostly Bloodthirsters, and then a bunch of Flamers, then whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be the core people are settling on right now. Around 12 to 16 Flamers, 30 to 50 Bloodletters, 1 Bloodthirster, and then rest is world's your oyster.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it there. It's mostly the reps right now. People actually figured out exactly what they should be bringing right now. Like people love the greater demons. I feel like they're leaning a little bit away from the greater demons to get more little demons to kind of actually score your objectives, get your points as well. The Bloodthirster, that's like an auto include in there. Sometimes you see an odd Scarbrand. Sometimes
with the wound caps. That's the one we're talking about.
The wound cap is like that is the absolute best one to take for sure. Sometimes you see a Scarbrand. Sometimes you see like a Keeper in there sprinkled in. But for the most part, like you said, Flamers, either Demonettes or Bloodletters. I've seen both in used to great respect, so it's a bit of flavor. I feel like because of Bloodthirster with the Bloodletters, you get the Khorne juiciness of extra attack everywhere is pretty. But for the Warp Storm table, I feel that that's a good way to lean to. But it's all preference too, and they all work.
So a lovely thing we like to do at the moment with Heretic Astartes being so taken so prevalently is to compare the good and the bad Marines and to see how those two little sub-faction, super factions.
The bad ones are doing a lot better right now.
A lot better. There's still 5 more loyalists than traitors, so which is fine. I mean, they're dying off. Yeah, how long can you hang out in the Eye of Terror? You know, it takes some attrition. But the aggressive on both ends are taking an overabundance. We have was it 3 Space Wolves, 10 Blood Angels, so 13 out of the 23 taken Loyalist Space Marines are pure merely violence, whereas we've got Creations of Bile and we have Emperor's Children, which are the overly oppressive, merely dominant Heretic Astartes taken in, about half of that sub-faction as well. So really interesting parallels between those two.
Yeah, and I made a little comment there about Space Marines and like their win rates or whatever, but you can't get caught on the win rate stat. Like that is there are faction experts out there. If you're struggling with that faction, see what's working for them. Don't be afraid to get deep into your codex, and then understand that the pilots actually win these things, not necessarily the list. We've actually seen that play out where Jack Harpster from a couple weeks ago, and then a couple weeks before that won 2 different tournaments with 2 different army lists. So
yes,
there's a there's still a lot left on the bone there if you're playing if you're not winning as much as you would like to, and that's one of the things we observe when we're going through this. But we can definitely tell that people are enjoying those Chaos Space Marines right now.
Absolutely, and Chaos is the dominant super faction in the game right now. The next one down is Xenos with 34, Chaos sitting 8 above them with 42 players in representation. So what's that out of 178? What percentage of that field is playing Chaos? Yeah, it's a lot. It's not quite 30%. It's not quite 30%.
It's close. It's like 28.
which is it's awesome. It's awesome to see that. So let's go to talk about some of the top players in attendance. First up, we have Joel Wilson, who's ranked 3rd in the US West region of the ITC. He's playing Forces of the freaking Hive Mind, Dustin. He is the one Forces player.
He is the one.
He's playing.
Of course,
Kraken.
you had to pull it out. You better. I was gonna be really mad if you didn't pull out this player.
I know. So it was just so happened that he happened to be the top ranked guy in that region anyway. So the top guys know what they're doing. He's got a Kraken and Twisted Helix army. It starts off with the Kraken Patrol from Tyranids. He's got a Neurothrope, a Flyrant, 10 Gargoyles, 6 Tyrant Guard, a Morlock, and the Parasite of Mortrex. And then the battalion of Twisted Helix is a Magus Patriarch, 3 units of 5 Akos, 11 Akos, these ones tooled up to the 9s, 10 Neophytes, 3x10 Pure Strain Gs, that's 30 Pure Strain Gene Stealers, and then 2 units of 4 Adelan Jackals. For the breakdown, Dustin, take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually interesting because most people that'll do the Forces of the Hive Mind, they'll actually lean further into the Tyranids and go with them as their main faction. But it looks like he's actually gone into the Gene Stealer cult, the Twisted Helix here, which I really like. Magus of the Patriarch gives you all extra the psychic power that you want there. You're going to have the auto wounding on 6s for those 30 pure strains. If you're bringing Twisted Helix, you're bringing 30 pure strains. That's just the way you play it, right? You want to you get so much value out of the extra move, extra strength.
So what's the Twisted Helix do specifically? Why would it lead you to that?
I will gladly explain that to you. So Twisted Helix, the bonus is you're getting +1 to your move, you're getting +1 to your strength, army wide, and you also have the mini transhuman, which is an added bonus for everything in there, just being a little bit more durable.
And you said mini, that's a 5-up. Can't wound on a.
No, can't wound on a 2.
Can't wound on a 2.
Okay, yeah.
So can't be wounded on better than a 3, basically, which is great for an army.
Sorry, I reversed that.
we all knew what you're talking about. It's okay, Paul. We know. But also their psychic power is to auto wound in close combat on 6s to hit. And when you have 40 to 50 attacks, you're going to get quite a few auto wounds with your -3, right? So the pure strains, because they can innately advance and charge, give that +1 move and +1 strength, bring them from a 4 to a 5. That is a big jump. The 4 to 5 is actually one of the best ones, I think, in the game. I think 5 to 6 is the next one, but 4 to 5 really is the biggest one.
Really feels like this list is kitted out to go into Necrons and other Tyranids more than anything else. As in the Strength 5 breakpoint is exactly what the Pure Strains need to punch up into Scorpex, Wraiths, Tyranid Warriors, etc., etc. They're not wasting any strength, they're not wasting any AP either, and they've got a great save regardless. Also, double down upon Kraken Tyrant Guard are no meme. They are no joke. They are durable beyond belief at times, and they have just a absolute bucket of hate to throw at you if you get too close. But moving on, gentlemen, the next one I've pulled out. So there was 2 other gentlemen in the top rankings before I got to this one, but these guys were playing pretty regular stuff. Got Marshall Peterson, ranked 4 in the US West. He's just taken the Necrons I think he took last week or the week before. It looked pretty similar to me. If there are minor tweaks, apologies, Marshall. I didn't catch him. And then Kyle Parry, who's taking Harlequins, and it's Light Sadith, and it's all troops in boats. So I skipped those 2, went down to this one because I love this one. This is Scott Rumpel. He's ranked 7th in the US West region. He's playing Adeptus Astartes, Spaceful Successors, Master Artisan, and Whirlwinds of Rage. That is 1 free reroll. I think it's only to wound, and then exploding 6s. And then he's got a battalion. He's got a captain on bike, a chaplain with a jump pack, 2 units of 5 infiltrators, 5 incursors, 3 units of 5 wolfguard with jump packs. They're all got lightning claws and chainswords. 3 units of 5 wolfen, 2 single landspeeder tornadoes, a single regular landspeeder, 3 units of 3 eliminators, and I think I love this list. I like this.
I love this a lot.
I feel like I've seen this before.
I think we have too.
It seems kind of familiar.
It's taken a couple of months to come back around, I think.
This seems to have a lot of tools, which is what you want to look for, is like how can I score points, how can I do some damage, and and you got a lot of Marine players are going to things like the land speeders, and we've seen eliminators start to creep back in.
Well, it's got the beautiful balance of having enough little crap to throw away and play the mission, whilst having 6 just hate-filled butcher units.
Well, look at this forward presence here. I mean, with what is it? 4 units, 5, 6, something like 6 units or whatever that can be somewhere else on the table.
Yeah. 6 infiltrating units, 9 of which can be having las fusils, which take a pound of flesh and move and run away. It's got great game into GSC and Necrons at times, and also into demons with the infiltrators pushing back all those reserve shenanigans. It's got Wolfen, which is the other side of the coin. It's what Wolfguard don't do well. Stuff that is, your Lightning Claws are bad into, Wolfen just cover that for you by having, Thunderhammers and such. So I think there's a beautiful balance to this list. It's got a little bit of Flight Blast in it as well. It's got the Chaplain for the extra charges. It's got a lot of speed. It's got a lot of hate. And it actually has surprisingly a decent amount of guns, because I know all the land speeders have multi-melters on them in addition, if I remember correct. So
Oh, is that it? Okay.
I think there's a beautiful balance to this list.
I actually love Wolfen. I feel like they're one of, if you're taking Space Wolves, I think you should lean heavily into them. I think they're incredible. The Wolf Guard, I still actually, because they have the jump packs to give them the mobility that you need, I think they're actually better than the Wolf Cav, the Thunder Wolf Cav, just because they can ignore that terrain. They still get the same kind of movement and still do at least similar, if not the same amount of damage. I like them a lot. I like this list. The MSU style, I love it. I think it's great.
I think this is about as good as it gets for Space Wolves right now. Maybe you could get some single Fenrisian Wolves in here to do some shenanigans, like, Oath of Moments and Behind Enemy Lines and that kind of stuff.
Oh, they still get servitors too, but yeah, you're right. The Frenzy and the single Cyber Wolves or whatever.
But I wouldn't change anything about this list right now. I think Scott's showing he's having a great season with it, and all the power to him. The last one, I need to tell a little bit of a story. A guy, just slid into my DMs this week, and he said, "Adam, I've taken offense to something you said previously." His name is Nicholas Uria. Taken offense to what I've said about T-Suns. He said a couple of weeks ago. He said he's going to go to the event, prove me wrong, and then come on my show and talk smack about me. He's going to say, I'm just going to win the event and barge onto one of your shows, Adam, and be like, out of the way.
Thousand Sun's been knocking on the door.
Okay.
Mini event.
I know Paul Dodge respects any man who's going to call his shot. You got on the show because you called your shot, brother. Let's see. Maybe we'll put you on stream for one of the games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Round one, no round two, because you got to be here. You got to be for it.
I'm going to petition to put the Space Wolves versus the T-Suns first.
Round one. Oh, I like
Reenact that. Burning of Prospero goodness.
Let's do it.
And we just...
Let's do it.
Oh, I'm not going to... Never mind. But this list is as thus. He's got a battalion of Cult of Duplicity, and then he's got a Zinch Patrol. He's got Armin, an Exalted Sorcerer, Infernal Master, 3 into Rubrics, which I believe will come with a Soul Reaper, if I remember right. A unit of 10 and unit of 5 Scarab called Terminators, and then 5 Chaos Spawn. And then the Vanguard...
You know how I feel about Spawn.
Me too. And the Vanguard is a single Fate Skimmer and 5, 3 Flamers. So 13 out of a possible 18 Flamers taken. This is pretty good, boys. Apparently this gentleman's been working on this list pretty hard, and I love that he's called his shot. So all the power to you, Nicholas. What do you guys think of this list?
Yeah, Nicholas is in the chat too, seemingly. So hey, best of luck. And what I see here is that he's taken 5 Terminators out of that one unit to then give some points up for the demons and the increased number of spawn. I do like the spawn choice. I don't know that I like the sacrifice of the 10-man Terminator squad. So that's if that's working, and that could be a new template.
I'm here for it. I think 110-man is enough to bully the games in where they're good, and then the games where they're bad, you don't want to have 20 and not be able to do the job with them. So I do respect his choices here. Well, more than that, Paul, I think you just got to mix it up at this point, right? 20 Scarabs ain't getting the job done.
What we see from this, exactly. If you're consistently going 5-1, 4-2, or third place, whatever, you got to play with it. It's like you got to figure out what's going to give you those whatever the extra little oomph, that push to get to that bracket, whatever you want to be in.
I think the PowerPoint slide is skipped to the next event. Might need to jump back a couple. Because, that is it for SoCal. That is the SoCal Open, boys. And while I do want Mr. Uria to take it home and prove us all wrong, because who wouldn't want T-Suns to take a super major, right? At this point, who would be like, get back in the box, nobody wants to see that. Everyone would be happy, right?
What's taking it? This is what we pick. If you're new here, we pick either a player or a faction we think is going to sweep the whole event. Take number 1. What's it going to be? Adam, what's your pick?
Demons for me.
Demons?
It's their time. They're about to... All the people who don't know what they're going to do, demons are going to come slap you in the teeth, and you're going to have to learn a whole new way of playing the game again, because it's all the 8th edition mechanics of reserve manipulation, all that stuff come back in. So I think demons might take this one.
Dustin, what do you think?
I got to go with my forces. I love that combo.
That was a great one. I'm going to say, I mean, I got to go with tried and true here. I'm saying just Necrons. I think the Necrons know what's coming. They're like, oh my goodness, Silent King is gonna get nerfed. Let's play him. Let's play him to the. I use those real air quotes there. I know bad for radio, but you watch somebody come see the video. You got to see air quotes every now and then. But they're going to try to be playing it to the nines. Necrons going to be point scoring machines. Try to sweep this whole thing.
Beautiful. What's up next?
Yeah, next event we're going to be talking about is the Breaking Heads Cup number 3. That is in Petershagen, Germany. 56 players.
Got him. I didn't even have to make it up. That's just what it's called.
Event. Those are we're going to see.
As German heritage, that hurt me to hear, but it's okay. All right, so
I can try it again if you'd like.
No, please don't. Please don't. We're good. We're going to go on to the event.
It's not just me. Yay.
All right, so the Imperial's Roof action, there are 4 Sisters of Battle, 1 Astra Militarum, 1 Imperial Knight, Space Marines, 3 Blood Angels, clean and simple, that's it.
Oof.
Chaos, there's 3 Chaos Space Marines, 3 T-Suns, 2 Death Guard, 4 Demons, and 4 Renegade Knights. Xenos, there's 5 Necrons, 2 Orcs, 7 Tau, and 1 single Leagues of Votann. Hive Mind, there's 4 Tyranids. Eldaria, there's 1 Drakari, 5 Harlequins, 5 Asuryani, and 1 Inari, meaning the faction podium is Tau at number 1 with 7. Then Necrons, Harlequins, and Asuryani all tied in second with 5. And then Renegade Knights, Demons, Tyranids, and Sisters tied at 4. This is an interesting spread.
Percentage-wise, the Tau is much higher than the previous event, than the SoCal. Percentage-wise.
Percentage-wise, Tau is double almost from the percent. Yeah. This is a crazy amount of Tau for 56 players, 7 Tau, and makes me think they know something about the terrain, boys. That's the only thing I can come to. When players know they're going to get a certain terrain quality or unquality, if that's not even a word, but I'm using it, you will see more Tau come out in force.
I mean, Tau are great. They can play a game, where they really can be dominant. It's like you just need a little bit of luck sometimes to have the Tau just do what they're doing. And we've seen things like the Sunshock Bombers, really, turn the tide in some battles, against what might be considered unfavorable matchups. So, look, I don't know if we called out any Tau list. I'm curious to see if they kind of went that route.
Yeah. Apart from the Tau, this is a beautiful spread. Like, despite having Tau on the podium, we still have 7 other factions make our faction podium. That's a lovely spread.
I actually really like it.
They should just shame a few of the Tau players out of Tau, and then this thing is beautiful. This thing is perfect.
It's fine. Although I do like, I actually kind of like where some of the Tau lists are going. Now that it's not just a spam of one thing most of the time, but you'll sometimes see that. You'll still see 15 crisis suits, but I like that it's more of like you have some bombers in there, you have some hammerheads, maybe a crisis unit, some crude. I like the spread of Tau. I'm not saying I like Tau. I hate Tau, and they need to die.
Look, that's why we play this game. It's like some folks are gonna bring this list. You got to bring the counter. Did any of these other people we've highlighted figure out what might be a counter to this? Because I think that what we can see just from the stats, we're not there. Let us know if anybody is in the chat. Let us know in the comments if we're right about this. Is that those players are basically making a bet that their shooting list is going to get them over the through all the rounds.
Exactly right.
What do these players think?
Not the melee phase. One other thing I'd like to point out is that it's a good representation of Asuryani, which is the first time in a while we've seen Asuryani make it. It's usually either Harlequins or Yunari. It's very rarely Asuryani. But jumping in, so there's 2 of the gentlemen that represented Germany at the WTC, and they're both taking interesting iterations on top meta lists. So I decided to pull both those out after looking through a multitude of the lists at the event. The first of which is Manuel. I'm just going to call him Manuel. You'll see why in a second. I'm going to do it. Wait. Why is this Orek? I think that's good as we're going to get. WTC Team Germany 2022, where Germany came third. He's playing Bloody Rose Sisters. He's got a battalion. He's got Celestine, Stern, and Kaiganel, and Morven Val. That is 3 really punchy characters. 2 units of 5 regular sisters, 5 novitiates, 4 arcoflagellants, 2 crusaders, a dogmata, 5/5/7 repentia, 3/5 zephyrum, a single rhino, and then and a super heavy auxiliary, which is a free blade. With Hunters of Beasts, we have 3 Armiger Helvrins. I love
Why
it.
haven't more people been doing this? I love
totally
these
agree.
things in Sisters. I think they are a perfect addition to Sisters.
I like how you can spread out too. This whole list can kind of Voltron out essentially and be in lots of different places and not necessarily be incapable of performing. It's not like you're sending off just a small unit to go do something is on a one-way trip. These things can actually get out there, exist, mix it up, maybe make it to the end of the game.
And what it really does is let the Bloody Rose Sisters be Bloody Rose Sisters without having to try and take things like Retributors, which don't do anything Bloody Rose Sisters do, and just taking 3 Helvrins that just do what Helvrins do. It's really siloing your list into doing what it does best. I think this is a magnificent addition to this. Anybody know if Stern and Kaiken have gotten better somehow? I know it was medium level good, but it was too many points for what they provided. But is there something here I'm missing?
There's been no change as far as I know. What I see players doing is using them as basically like almost like a mini melee unit just to go out there and be disruptive, do things. They got Kaganel and Stern have great attacks. I think she has some kind of deny ability or something. Maybe that's just the sisters thing, but all the base stats plus a couple extra rules, and they're really great in combat.
Agreed. Jumping down, next one is Emmanuel Wolf. Thank you, Emmanuel, for having a reasonable name. Also represented Team Germany at the WTC this year. He's playing Necrons, and his expansion is a Conquerors, of course, but this is a slight iteration on the list. So we saw an ultra melee with some shooting Sisters list. Now we're seeing kind of an ultra shooting Necrons list. It's got Silent King, of course, and that has a single spearhead for the entire rest of the army. A Catacomb Command Barge and a Technomancer, 2 Crypto Thralls, 2 units of 6 Scorpec Destroyers, 3 Plasma Sites to go along with. 1 single unit of 3 Scarabs, 1 single unit of 3 Tomb Blades, 3 Annihilation Barges, and 3 units of 3 Heavy Destroyers. That is a lot more DACA than people are used to with the Necrons. What do you boys make of it?
I am a big fan of all the Locust heavy destroyers because I feel like they actually have a good game. And some of one of the things that Necrons can kind of have an odd game against sometimes is ironically Knights, and specifically Imperial Knights. Heavy destroyers are really good at picking off those armatures, really good at it.
Well, Renegade Knights made the podium, so it could be he's there hunting him. In addition, every time I play against heavy destroyers and my opponent goes and moves them through a wall, I'm like, sorry, what? And they're like, oh, they're infantry. I'm like, huh? Say again? Why are they infantry? And they've got fly.
No legs.
No legs. Yeah.
Adam, they hover. What are you talking about? So yeah, I just think they're a phenomenally flexible unit. The Annihilation Barges, I've seen people talk about them being good. I've seen people say that they're better than people think. I've never seen somebody like a top player put their name to it and put them into action. So I'm really interested to see how they go.
I've actually seen Annihilation Barges. I've played against them very recently too. Now, obviously, as a GSC player, those Strength 7 Tesla things are annoying. But they also have Gauze built in there. They're good for their points. And OBSEC, I mean, fast flying OBSEC, right?
Oh, I didn't look at this meta again. Is there a lot of demons at this meta? 4 demons.
Necron players a couple of months ago figured out the Satan are no longer getting it done. Take them out, get those points back. What do I put in there? And so it's been kind of a mad scramble to find what that perfect combo is to settle into those points. More shooting is the answer, but it's what unit's doing it.
Yeah, you still have the 12 score packs in there just in case you do get close enough. You can still tear you apart in close combat, no problem.
Yeah, shooting wise, this is a very, very relevant shooting list. But yeah, what do we think's taking it, boys?
Well, I got to give some shout out to the chat before we get too far. People have been absolutely sounding off, having a great time. Thanks for participating in the chat. Great to see everybody in the chat being active as always, because we talk about how active and awesome the chat is. And so, again, if you haven't watched it live, come hang out with us. You can meet some cool folks, talk about where to get Warhammer 40,000 with us. But yeah, okay, what's taking this thing?
I mean, there's 7 Tau, which is kind of freaking terrifying. So betting against Tau is hard, which is why I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna bet. I'm gonna
That's
go.
fair.
I'm gonna go crazy. So there is a lot of shooting lists at this event. Even one of the top players, Necron's list, has got an extra amount of shooting in it. We got Tau shooting. The other shooting army that is getting left by the wayside is the Asuryani. I'm gonna go with them.
Okay.
No reason. 0% reason. I want it to be a thing.
I'm going with not. I'm not even going to specify sisters. I'm going to specify that one list that finally put armigers in it, because I'm so happy somebody's finally doing that in like a big competitive event, because I don't know why people aren't. I think it's a great ad for sisters, and I want to see it do well.
I'm going to go, and since I haven't said it in a little while, Blood Angels. I can tell you why. Because if they needed just a little bit of fortune to take out Tau, and the sisters list we were just talking about is real light on Repentia, and so it can be, those squads can easily be wiped out with Angelus bolt guns, and so it's basically the field is just ripe for the Forlorn Fury.
And I will point out that the only Space Marines at this event are the 3 Blood Angels players. In fact, the Imperium Super Faction and the Space Marine Super Factions are essentially empty. Like 4 Sisters, 1 Guard, 1 Imperial Knights, and then 3 Blood Angels is all the Imperium at this event. There are as many Leagues of Votann as Imperial Knight players at this event. It's buck wild. I love it.
So we're going to take a quick break. When I say quick, this is just a quick word from our sponsors here. And then we'll be coming back talking about the next event. Y'all hang tight.
Very exciting.
Hobby Box. Hobby Box crammed full. This show's crammed full. We're crammed full.
Just imagining literally everyone with their phones like, damn it, I want to see that. Not yet.
That was a secret. You can't tell people to go and check out the secret.
Hey, stop it.
I didn't mention it. I just said imagine people at home with their phones up against the screen, trying to take a picture of our beautiful faces to make glorious.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah,
it's exactly what it was.
It's not like you missed anything on
dig
video.
Up,
we haven't had a good
Thursday.
Yeah, we haven't had a good Thursday show meme in a while. We need to see what we can do.
we do need some. I mean, we have coined so many memes. I had somebody talking about Scarab O's being the breakfast of choice.
Nice.
We made that meme like a year ago. Scarabo being eat your Scarabos. It's just a Rubik Marine holding up like a kernel of wheat on the box.
So we have one more event to talk about, and then we'll kind of in detail like we have been, and we'll mention a couple of other smaller events happening out there in the world. And then we have a palate cleanser segment we call the Fuego Rapido. That's where we give ourselves a series of topics to run down that have basically rarely ever anything to do with Warhammer 40,000. That comes at the end of the show, but it's nice little break after all these hard numbers and stuff we've been talking about. But before that, let's talk about this event, New South Wales Team Championship from Maitland, New South Wales. I'm told that's in Australia.
It's somewhere near London.
Near London.
Everywhere's kind of in different radiuses of near London, right? Essentially.
Technically, everything has a distance to London. That's
to London. But yeah, this is not quite in my backyard. Essentially, it's a couple hours flight away. But it's a pretty stacked event. What are we going to see?
80 players. 16 teams of 5. And the way this works, the way team events works is that, I have to assume anyway, the way team wins works is that you can only use a codex once on any team. So the most that we can see a codex repeated is a possibility of 16 times.
And that is all of Chaos Space Marines, all of Space Marines count as a single take. So essentially, all of Space Marines could be its own listing here rather than having it broken down. But we break it down.
Yeah, we just break it down the same anyway. So Imperial Super Faction, there are 2 Sisters of Battle, 6 Custodes, 1 Admech, 4 Astra Militarum, 2 Grey Knights, and 6 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 1 Dark Angel, 2 Space Wolves, 1 Salamander, 1 Black Templar, 1 Death Watch. Chaos, there's 4 Chaos Space Marines, 3 T-Suns, 2 Death Guard, 7 Demons, and 5 Renegade Knights. Xenos, there's 3 Necrons, 2 Orcs, 4 Tau, 2 Leagues of Votann. I need to have a kind of we need to figure out a short way to say that now. Leagues of Votann. Love.
The love.
Love.
3
love. 2 love. There we go.
Yep.
4 Tau, 2 love. Hive Mind, there are 8 Tyranids, 3 Gene Stealer Cult. Eldar, there's 3 Drukhari, 3 Harlequins, 3 Assyriani, and 1 Ynnari, which means the faction podium is Tyranids at 8, Demons at 7, and then Custodes and Imperial Knights at 6. There's no team that is maxed out.
Not even close. There's only a couple that have gone half or more than half the teams. Because there's 16 teams, yeah? That's right. 16 teams of 5 is 80 players.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yep.
I'm not crazy. So there could be 16. So 8 is only half the field have taken Tyranids. Less than half the field have taken anything else. Which is wild.
Think about that. That's pretty wild, because typically when you're sleeving up a team, of players, it's like, okay, well, there's some of the top medalists are also take all comers list. Essentially, like, they can really go into any matchup, and so hey, we need a Necron player, we need a Tyranid player, we need a Sisters player, or whatever, and you seek that out, and it's kind of neat to see this. And we've seen this in previous team event coverages as well, is that is becoming less of a dependency for teams because of what kind of Nephilim and balanced data slates have done.
The leveling of the playing field has meant that a lot more factions become a lot more relevant in teams. But despite that, like the list you just talked about, a lot of all comers, Tyranids is the all comers teams list of the whole format. You can just take the singles Leviathan Tyranids list, just slots into teams and can do everything almost. It makes it maybe change 200 or 300 points to make it fit the rest of your team lineup. But and in saying that, like, going into an event like this, I expect 2/3 to somewhere between 2/3 and 3/4 to have taken Tyranids would have been my assumption. So only having half, I think that's a win. I think that's an absolute freaking win for the meta. In saying that, other aberrations, of course, Asterix next to Demons, because Space Marines, if we did compress it, is 7 players. They would be sitting in second place on the podium.
Well, I want to highlight this too, is in a lot of team events. Now, Grant, I don't know the culture of the specific environment. Adam, maybe you can speak to this. But you borrow stuff. Like, so again, this is a real choice. It's not like, figures are probably not an option. Is, again, these are intentional choices, and this doing what we do, the analysis that we do. I like to see this because it seems very deliberate, very good choices. Shows kind of signs of what's happening out there.
A question for you, Dustin, and I'm just asking this, you haven't spoken in a bit. Why the hell are there 6 Custodies?
I actually feel like Custodes are a good team list too. They have several good I think they're actually a good bully list in the meta, because they're an army that you can't rely on consistency against, because 4-up invuln, 4-up feel no pain to mortals if you're playing Emperor's Chosen, like I'm assuming most of them are. It gives such a bully to any list that wants to rely on good trading, because while you have a 50% chance to just not. It actually is hard to predict the points you're going to get to them. And a lot of Custodes players, especially the ones that play in a lot of team events, know how to take advantage of that. I've played against a lot of them, and the ones that do it a lot, they do it well. And it's impressive. I love the Custodes of this. And the other thing too, I need to say it because I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. Team events are the best way to play 40K, and this is just another one of the reasons why. When you see a spread like this, it's just it warms my heart. I love this.
Me too. Am I crazy, or was there a bunch of Custodies at SoCal as well? 5. No, there was only 5 at SoCal. Never mind.
That's a bunchish.
It's out of 170.
It's a bunch.
It's not even a bunch of flowers. That's
like
5.
A pinky.
5 flowers. So we have 2. I pulled out 2 of the top teams in attendance. There was another top team, but they didn't have a very appropriate name. They know who they are. They're a bunch of my mates. I couldn't put you on the show. But first up is Team Garlic, and I think this is because most of these boys come from Mediterranean backgrounds. Well, at least I know Eric Lathouris, who's the team captain, does. He's all about it. Wonder if you can pick his list, Dustin. Oh, what a shocker. We have Necrons, GSC, Imperial Knights, Renegade Knights, and Chaos Demons, and their archetypes sit as thus. The Necrons is Conquerors and Healthy Paranoia, which I had to look up because it's the first time we've seen anything apart from Conquerors and Expansionists. So the Conquerors, Paranoia is plus 3-inch range on essentially everything that's not a pistol. Is plus range. He's got 2 each big Scarab units, Daka and Choppy Destroyers make up the archetype. Everything else is what you'd expect. The GSC list is Oops, All Neophytes and Jackals. It's the Eric Lathouris list from a couple of weeks ago because Eric Lathouris is playing it. Imperial Knights is a Freeblade Lance. This is a full Daka Freeblade Lance build, which I'm really excited to see how it does. It's here because it goes in tandem with the full kind of War Dog Swarm Renegade Knights. These are 2 sides of a coin. He's got a Crusader, a Paladin, 3 Lightning Lock Moiraxes, and 3 Armiger Helverins. So full Daka. The only thing here that could even hurt you in melee is the Paladin coming hitting you with the Reaper Chainsword. Apart from that, he's just kicking you. Then the Renegade Knights. Just all War Dogs. I think it's 13 War Dogs. A couple of everything. Then he's got we got Chaos Demons as the last one. Now this is an interesting list to unpack because I think this is a very, very, very good archetype that people might be sleeping on because this is the alternative, I think, to the Thirster. If you don't want to take the Thirster, I think this is a really great way to go. It's got 40 Bloodletters and 15 Flamers. Ergo, what we said at the start of the, in SoCal being like people have kind of figured out the core of this. But instead of the Thirster, he's got 2 Fate Skimmers, 2 Demon Princes tooled up to the 9s, one of them being Nurgle, I believe, with the perfect, that Nurgle relic is so good, the sword, and then 2 Exalted Flamers. So he's said, do you know what, this kind of feels like what people used to do in 8th edition, sitting a bunch of smitey or shooty characters behind Plague Bearers. Doing this, but with 15 Flamers, sitting, because they've all got 3 up invulnerable saves, sitting 2 Skimmers, 2 Demon Princes that can come at any point, each your face, and then 2 Exalted Flamers in addition, then bombing 40 Bloodletters on you at will. I like this archetype quite a lot. This is the one I was the most excited to see how it's going to play. What do you make of this 5-pack, gents?
Can I guess the second Demon Prince? Do you know what the god of the second Demon Prince is?
If I had to guess, it's Khorne, right? With the
okay. That was my guess too, because I think those are the 2. When I was playing a demon list without any Bloodthirsters or anything, it was a Khorne Demon Prince and a Nurgle Demon Prince. I think that's actually the best way to run them too. And I was just curious to see what the rest of it is. I like that a lot too. And this 5-pack is just scary. It's got an answer for everything. It's so scary. It could literally bully any defender it wants because of the Necron GSC and the Demons is one buff, and then the Knights as another one. Like whatever you put down, they will have an answer for it. And it's
two Knights list. I mean, there's durability all around here.
Yeah, I really rate this lineup. It's like you pointed out perfectly, Dustin. It's an aggressive lineup. It's got double Knights in a 5-man. It's got Necrons who can just outscore or get a good score against anybody. Eric Lathouris is one of the best players in the world. You're not going to get an easy win there. So it's negotiating how to pin and get wins against the 2 Knight lists. And the 2 Knight lists are so tooled up to be specific in what they do, as in the Daka Knights and the spammy War Dogs, because you've taken 2 Knights lists, but you've only taken one that needs a table pick, and that's the big job here. You guys, someone want to explain how the table?
Yeah, so when you're picking these teams list, you roll out to see who gets to choose what table you play on. And so when you have a Knight list or multiple Knight list, one of the things you're trying to dodge or to manage during that selection process of who plays who is which table they play on. The tables range from very dense down to very light, and and that may influence what your teammates have to choose table to give you the favorable matchups with these Knights.
Yeah, exactly right. And so having taken 2, so the other Demon Prince is Khorne. It's got Argath as well. King
Nailed it. It's almost like we know what we're talking about.
It's almost like we know. But yeah, if you're going to take 2 Knight lists, you can't take 2 Knight lists that both need the light table because there's only one light table. So one of those lists has to play on a heavy or a medium. So they have to be tooled as such. In this case, they've really spread out which one's which. So in almost every occasion, that Imperial Knights list is going to go up as the first pairing. They're going to take the light table, and then you're going to be like, do I go first or do they go first? If they go first, you are absolutely wrecked. If you go first, maybe you're not, depending. Maybe. So this is a really good 5-pack. It's terrifying to look at.
We got one more team to talk about.
Yeah, then we're wrapping up. This one is TSN Jaming. I don't know what the Jaming meme is, and a couple of my mates on this team as well. They'll probably tell me what Jaming means. If I've said some funny crap, they'll meme on me later. We got Tau, Harlequins, Tyranids, CSM, and GSC. This is a very conventional. These are the best lists in the game kind of stuff, except for the GSC, which is up for debate. But if you're in the know, you know. Tau, Farside Enclaves, 4 Commanders, and 3 Fisher Furies with 2 Bombers. Fisher Fury being the beautiful callback. These are Breaches in Devilfish, 3 of them. Dark Harlequins, not light, not Twilight, dark, for a very specific reason. 2 big troop squads, 4 little troop squads, and then 4, 5 Skyweavers. So 13 Skyweavers here to make use of all the dark goodness. And then we've got Levy Tyranids, just Levy, good stuff. CSM, Wordbearers, Max Unit Termis, Max Unit Possessed, and 3 Masters of Executions. People are sleeping on these little pieces of crap guys that just always seem to do more damage than they should. And then the GSC...
They hit hard!
They hit stupid hard for their points, man. And then the GSC list is literally Eric's list from WTC. So the Rock Grinders, the 3 big units of Jackals, and some Neophytes, some Acolytes. This is another great 5-pack.
It is a good one, too. I like it.
Yeah, I can't argue with this. I don't think I'd want to fight any of these, but anything I might want to bring. You know,
yeah, like you said, Adam, this is like the 5-pack of like the best list. So it's not necessarily skewed in any way. It's like these are the 5 best armies. Can you beat all of them?
Yeah, they have taken a couple of them off the beaten track. Like, admittedly,
Yeah.
Especially the Dark Harlequins list, have it going with all the Skyweavers, being like, well, I have a bunch of small troops, and there are a bunch of boats in this list that I did not add, so it is bringing most of what light brings. But then I've got, I've just got 13 turning 1 charging Skyweavers that you may not be able to deal with as well. And then you did deal with them. Here's 20 2 units of 10 Harlequin troops to just mop up.
And we made reference to a list template. Are these players taking the easy road? Just because they're taking a list that is, been piloted by somebody else to great success.
Yeah, absolutely right. How do we feel about that, Dustin? Is that a list that anybody can just pick up and play? That GSC list, especially?
No, it is actually
no.
No. This is one of those lists that if you look at it on paper, you'd be like, whatever. You'll play it once, and be like, this is terrifying.
I'm gonna get some cross strike or whatever that thing is, and just do some
But I actually because I've been playing GSC for a while, and what I've been playing recently, like, one of my opponents in the last tournament I went to said something that I think speaks to it really well. Is like, usually when you play a list, you can deconstruct it. This is impossible to deconstruct right now because there's just stuff. It's a lot harder to do.
So my feeling on taking, borrowing a list concept from someone else, I love it. Like they've saved you some time. Like do it. You play whatever you want to play. But just kind of curious is since people are now aware of that list, do some tweaks have to be made, to keep it fresh and as brutal as it was.
So for a list like this, there are some tweaks that I know Eric has been making too. There are some things that just aren't necessary in the list and kind of put it to the direction that he feels it's best. And I actually agree with the way that he's going with it because that's the way I've been playing them too. And I love the way you're doing it because this is a list with GSC, especially right now. They're not really popular in the meta. Like, there are not a lot of players that play them, right? So if you're bringing a list to deal with that GSC, the things you have to bring to deal with this right now in this meta take you away from fighting other things in the meta, which is the problem, which is why this list is actually really good right now for this meta, because in order to fight it, you have to build towards it. And in order to build towards it, you get worse against all the other actual meta armies. It's actually genius. Like, I love it.
Agreed.
Look, I know we only have a small window into the number of teams and what's on the list or in the list that we're taking, but what do you think's going to win this thing? What collection of lists do you think you're going to do the best?
So the first team is arguably it's coming first or second in my mind. The only team that I think can beat them is the team that we didn't talk about because they got a rough name for me to read out. So I think the first one, I honestly think that one added into these 3 will be the podium in one amalgamation or another. So the two teams we read out will hit the podium in my opinion. If not, definitely hit the top 5. I just want to tell you. Can I tell you about Master of Executions for a second?
Oh, okay, let's hear about this Master of
There's
Executions.
3 of them here, and I think this is the thing people need to be aware of. These are 65 points each, and for that 65 points, you get Weapon Skill 2+, which is the only thing that matters. 5 wounds, 6 attacks at Strength 7 -3, 2 damage, and each time attack is made with this weapon, undefied hit roll of 6 inflicts 2 mortal wounds. They have rerolls to wound against characters, and a 6-inch heroic intervention. And they are 65 points, boys.
Nurgle Matt's already said his list has 3 right now. Like he already knew.
He's all over it.
Way ahead of the meta.
Yeah. But legitimately, you guys need to know what those do, and they are terrifying, really frustrating. The rules to wound just means 6 attacks. You can usually farm 2 6s, sometimes 3 6s, and just do like 6 mortal wounds. Oh, sorry, did you have 6 wounds? 2 up invulnerable save Archon? See you later. Never heard of you. My 65-point chump just took you out.
Wow. Hey, there we go. All right, that is our tournament coverage for this week. We're gonna honorable mention though, just a couple of other events out there happening in the world. Look, we cover what we say is we cover some of the biggest and best events. We also try to bring events from different regions and stuff to the forefront. To let you know, there's a lot of Warhammer 40,000 happening out there. So what's a couple of ones we want to highlight from around the world?
First and foremost, big shout out to Law-Abiding Citizens, which is happening in a town about 2 hours away from me. They got this crazy format where I think it's 30, 40 players, but everyone can only take a faction once. So once somebody signs up with a faction, that's it. No other Blood Angels. There's one Blood Angel player. And there's some really good mates of mine doing some amazing work, keeping the hobby alive and thriving over in Geelong. So 2 thumbs up to them. And sorry, I'm not going to be there this weekend.
I was going to say, with a name like Law-Abiding Citizens, they better be a fluff tournament.
Or the opposite, or the
opposite, just go completely the other direction.
Yeah. There's another really exciting one. I don't know if you want to tell us about that, Paul.
Let me bring it up here. Unless you got a handy, go for it.
I got a handy, mate. Don't worry about me. So this is a city, Duduk, in Jakarta, Indonesia, which is a lovely 4-round, 16-player event. So we just love seeing events popping up in obscure places in the world, having a thriving scene in places like Japan, Singapore, now Jakarta, Indonesia. Absolutely amazing to see our hobby growing. And so hopefully everybody out there has an incredible weekend of Warhammer.
Yeah, that is awesome. So now we get to that palate cleanser segment we were talking about called the Fuego Rapido, where we give ourselves a list of topics. Sometimes these are submitted by friends of the show, listeners of the show. Sometimes we throw in one every now and then. Most of the time we don't know what's here before we read it, but this is why we invite production on to serve these up to us. We give ourselves a 2-minute clock.
Yeah.
Once that time is up, we stop talking about it, move on to the next one. Tech Priest Dicky in the background.
Ooh,
how are you this evening?
Happy Thursday. How are you?
Good to hear from you.
Yeah.
Your disembodied voice.
Yeah, sorry.
Right.
Maybe I'll bring a puppet on one day. Let's go.
So
we'll do better
once this clock starts,
yeah.
Then we give then it ticks down and we move on to the next one.
Yeah, there's not that many rules, right? It's pretty easy. Okay. What's your candy corn hot take?
What?
Can I go first?
Go for it, Adam.
I've never tried it. Looks nasty.
Yeah.
That's my take.
I don't care for it. I don't care, but I have eaten it.
Okay.
I'm not surprised for some reason.
Yeah, but I don't care for it.
Because I have definitely eaten it.
Did you like it?
My hot take is: Have you ever gone to a candy store?
Yeah.
And you saw candy in a bin, and you're like, "Man, that candy looks awesome!" And you try it, and then you spit it out immediately. That's candy corn to me.
Yeah.
Let's test the chat. Amazing. Candy corn, hot or not? It's,
hot or not candy corn? I'm curious because I have not met a single person that has ever liked candy corn or ever reached for that bin.
So with any kind of confection or sweet or whatever, it's like if that was the only thing there, would you eat it? Or would you just not eat? If you had a craving, you would just skip it.
If you mean if you need to have candy and candy corn?
Yeah, you wanted some kind of sugary, just quick sugar.
See,
fix
that's an interesting dilemma because needing a sugar fix is a very desperate feeling a lot of the time. So I don't know if it's that desperate for candy corn for me though.
You just skip it.
I think I'd skip it. I think you know what? I'm good. Maybe I'll look under the couch and see if there's a Jolly Rancher under there or something.
Under the couch, Jolly Rancher.
Under the couch,
candy corn?
I would go to
hairy Jolly Rancher.
A hairy under the couch Jolly Rancher before I have candy corn. How about there you go? I think that pretty much
that encapsulates everything that is that we needed to know from this segment.
Yeah. I think that covers it. Solved.
Done. Okay.
Adam, do they have candy corn down there?
Maybe. I've never seen it. If they do.
I can
Would try it if they did.
I can already tell you this Fuego is so much better than last week's. So we're already doing great. What color is more difficult to paint than yellow?
Orange.
Orange.
Really,
Oh,
orange
pink is not the easiest.
Depends on what kind of
Yeah.
orange, actually. The orange that I painted on my fire dragons, I sprayed yellow and didn't need to be nice, and then just washed it with one of the reds, and it actually looked great.
That's what I've found. That's the easiest way to do orange is to start with. So this is why it's harder than yellow, because it's the color that you have to start off by painting yellow.
Yeah. But the thing is, the yellow doesn't have to be clean because you're heavy washing it with a
Yeah.
red, so it'll fill in all those gaps and make the color sink a lot better too. Like my fire dragons, I'm actually really happy with the orange. To be honest, what's harder than yellow? White.
That's not bad.
Yeah, some of the new products make this stuff a lot easier though. So I mean, we're talking about still these colors are challenging, but the products make it more possible. Like I painted pink, I say is a difficult color and I wanted to practice. My Goliath gang actually have pink armor.
Goliath gang.
Nice.
Yeah, for Necromunda, because I just want to try the color. You know,
It's just his posse. It's his Saturday night posse. Hits the town with his Goliath gang, walking down the street eating tacos. Yeah.
Well, sometimes what I'll do is if I want to paint, an army or whatever, I'll practice on something else first. So I was actually, when I painted that, I was kind of entertaining doing some Emperor's Children. I mean, this was 2 years ago, almost 3 years ago at this point. I was like, well, let me just paint up a few figures and see if I could do it. And it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I'll say that. But the products are just getting better and better.
I have to try some of the new products. I haven't actually painted anything white in a while. Like I'll prime some things white, but if I actually want something to be a white color, so
Look at that Apothecary White. The contrast. It's
the contrast. Yeah, I've not painted my Eldar since that has come out, so I might have to try because
it's pretty good.
I painted a lot of Ally Talk originally. Now I've gotten more.
I misaligned this, but it's fine. What Primarch would be the most basic and would love PSLs?
What is PSLs?
Pumpkin spice lattes.
Oh,
really? Is that actually what PSL is?
Yeah,
Pumpkin
yeah,
spice
unfortunately.
lattes needed an abbreviation. Are you freaking kidding me?
I mean, yeah.
What world do we live in that we have to have an abbreviation for pumpkin spice lattes because they're that freaking common, but people can't say it?
Sorry,
What?
these are
yet we have the
spicelets.
flyer.
These are spicelets.
Yeah, actually, we didn't do a fly rent or a walk rent or anything today.
It was a good
Adam.
week.
It's okay. You still triggered me anyway.
Yeah, I know.
It's a
We
good week for Dustin,
your bingo cards triggering Dustin and Mark. Yeah.
Who's? I mean, the Gilliman, Dawn, Purdy. They all seem pretty basic.
Dorn screams PSL.
Dawn says, "Build another wall and bring me a PSL."
Yeah.
Everybody knows it's Gilliman.
It's probably Gilliman, right? Like he would need his venti.
No.
Not only,
Like,
do you remember in Unremembered
on his-
Empire?
on
No
his-
spoilers. Book's been out for 15 years or whatever. He made a chair for everybody, expecting everybody to come hang out. He probably had his espresso, his Keurig or whatever right there, with just a box 100 feet high. Of
Yeah.
PSL little.
Joel, I
playing
think
cups.
you're 100% right. I think it is Sanguinius.
Yeah,
I
Sanguinius.
think when I saw that, I was like, yeah, no, clearly it's that.
He would have a sanguinary priest, and
Yeah.
their cup would just have like pumpkin spice
Yeah,
in it
pumpkin on it.
instead of blood. And he'd be like, "We must do the ritual every
That makes
morning."
sense. Yeah, I'd go with Sanguinius.
Yeah,
for
swing
sure.
salt. Sorry, Paul.
No, wait.
Yeah.
No, do you
Paul is
actually,
just
if you
fuming.
go into a
Paul is
drive-through, do you
fuming.
actually say I want a PSL and they know what you're talking
Why
about?
don't you try it tomorrow and see what happens?
I am not. You know what? Actually, no. I'm
The
gonna
question
try
will
it.
be,
I'm gonna do it.
Venti or Trenta.
Oh.
You can't get a Trenta latte.
I go to Tim Hortons. We don't do that crap.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
don't- Timbos don't do that here.
Timbos don't do that. I'm going through the drive-through and I'm going to say I want a PSL, and if they don't know what I'm talking about, I'm coming back to you guys. I'm going to be mad.
What 40k faction carves the best pumpkins?
I feel like this might be the easiest one. Night Lords.
Maybe.
No, the best pumpkins.
Faction.
What's your
It's all-
definition?
the
Best
whole-
is subjective.
Yeah.
Oh, faction. Sorry,
Yeah.
for some reason I just thought of Drakari.
No.
Artists of flesh. Pumpkin
Yeah, but
flesh.
Pumpkins aren't flesh.
Pumpkin. Oh man.
What
Give
kind
me a
of
better
flesh-
option, hey?
Man,
Where's
you
your
might
option?
need some better
Get your
moisturizer, man. If
get
your
your
flesh
freaking-
feel like a pumpkin.
Get your heavy rock saws and your seismic cannons out and see how well you do.
I think they'd be awful.
I never said we were good at it.
They'd be awful.
I never said
It's
we
the
were good at it.
Eldari.
The Eldari would be good.
Yep.
Yeah. What do you got, Dustin?
I actually think the Tau, because they seem so precise and clean
Tau?
with their crap. Yeah,
Tau.
I
yeah.
don't see Tau at all.
you don't have to.
Yeah.
You don't see Tau at all because you probably don't celebrate
It's
it because
Fuego.
it take too much time. They're so.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna. Well, they want to be precise.
Oh,
If they're gonna get some marker lights pointed at the
The
little.
War
spots
Mistress
that need
does
to
come
actually-
up with a really good point. Emperor's Children. They love art.
Yeah,
True.
well, they could
Yeah.
say Tau carve it with a laser beam, zip it in there.
Yeah.
You know, a little-
Yeah, exactly.
Fiction.
I still think Night Lords would do a good job. A lot of
Yeah.
flensing knives, lots of little,
Flensing
intricate
knives. I feel
details,
like if you're
lots-
flensing
lots
stuff, you're
of-
not really good at carving art.
lots of ways of getting under membranes and
I see
extracting.
I see the Drukhari more than the Night Lords because Drukhari
Yeah.
they practice art on flesh,
I think
so like it's kind of translates.
Yeah. Harlequins. I think Harlequins would be the best. They're very festive.
Yeah.
They're a festive.
Oh yeah,
faction.
no Harlequins I could see.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're
They
festive.
get
Okay.
into it.
Yeah.
they would get into it. Yeah, they make it a whole production.
I had to wait for that 1 second. Okay. What do you do with your haunted, unlucky dice?
Oh,
Those are the unlucky ones. Those
most
are
of
the
them are in here.
tainted?
I've got a dice tray where I put all the dice that I don't think roll well, and I keep it next to me. And the reason is because when I have a crazy idea for a unit that is good, I roll it with my crap dice, and if it still feels good, it probably is. if
It's an interesting method there.
Interesting. that you
it's a
keep
terrible
your
method.
dice that you
It's
don't
an
like.
urban
Yeah.
legend, but because I
Yeah.
don't want to take my crap dice to events and I don't want to melt them down, they go in the shitty dice.
So
roller.
you
I
actually
have
have
a
kind of a
small trash can next to my gaming table where just all random dice get and bad dice get tossed into. They're basically like communal dice for anybody who comes over to play. They can use the dice.
So
Yeah,
anyone
you
that
make
plays
use of
you
those.
in your house has to use the crap.
Well, they
dice.
should bring their own dice. They know why they're coming. It's like what I'm saying. If they happen to find themselves needing some dice,
You
then
can use
they
these
just
shitty
roll
unlucky
those.
ones. Yeah,
You
perfect.
can send him some pleb dice. Johnson, make him use them.
My method's actually pretty similar to Paul's, but it's not for wargaming. It's for like D&D stuff. Like they got the pile of dice in there. They're like, okay, you need communal dice. There you go, but not for wargaming. Well, that's just cruel.
Yeah.
I'll
That's
bring the
cool.
bucket to the next show. It's like right there. It's like
So it's actually something that you use a lot. Then
Yeah.
sure is a Mega Man shirt.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right,
Love
I
Mega
think that
Man.
was solved. So this one,
I think we'll solve that.
This one feels very close to my heart. What would a corn maze be like?
very slippery.
Very bloody.
Okay, all right. Both those things are good.
I had to take a moment there.
Like, I want to write me a story, guys. Like, come on.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the thing. You want us to write you a story what it's
Yeah.
actually going to be like. Again, this is a family show, so
Well, keep it PG.
we have exactly.
with
We have to
chainsaws and blood.
filter this. We have to filter the whole thing.
It would just be a water park.
A
Be a
lot of
slip and slide.
redacted.
The whole thing would be a slip and slide.
a red water
Yeah.
park. Yeah.
Yeah. It would just
Water
be,
park. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But
I
it
mean,
would all be twisted iron, and you'd get cut up to absolute. Yeah.
well, yeah, that's the thing. It would be like going through an entire barbed wire forest. There
Yeah.
wouldn't actually be a path. Actually, yeah,
There
there
wouldn't.
there
The
would
bloody
not be a
path,
path.
if you
It would
would.
just be all barbed wire, and you're like, the only way to figure out is, oh, so that's where most of the blood is. So that must be the way out. So I'll just go that way. Cutting
very
yourself the
short.
whole way. It's very short.
You'd walk up to it like, oh, no door here, and then zip. You just basically zip.
I also feel like there is a very possibility that they would, some bloodthirst would be like, I'm sending you to the maze, and you just get teleported to the maze, and it's there was a maze. At some point there was a maze, and now there is just a huge pile of bodies. It's just bodies or skulls. It's just skulls and bones.
Depending on how long the maze has been there.
Skulls make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Pile. Like it's yeah. There is no blood.
Yeah,
It
it depends on how long the maze was there, or is it like one of these traveling mazes, like with Carnival? You know, you bring this barbed wire maze to all kinds of places. Do you bring the skulls with you?
It's just like a waterfall of people getting dumped into the maze. So no one ever actually gets to figure it out. You just hit the ground and become part of it.
You think? Here we go. Well, that's our show this week.
Theme.
If you got any themes that you want to have for Fuego, you're listening, feel free to write in. Hit us up on any of the platforms or comments on YouTube or whatever. Really appreciate y'all hanging out. Again, great chat community. Love hanging out with y'all each and every week. Here on Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern is when we do the live show. It's been a pleasure. Adam, Dustin, Richard in the back.
Yep.
Please tune in and support us on our SoCal adventures. Join in and get involved with the content. Hope to see you there.
Like, share, subscribe, 5-star reviews. That is the hassle-free way to interact with the show. Get the hobby boxes. Come back next week. We'll see you soon.
See y'all this weekend.